Losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it. This is, where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, recently. But things can change quickly. Once we.
Tony, what's popping, brother? How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm still feeling good after that win.
Nice win.
Apologies, I didn't make the show, but you know what I mean. I was listening.
It's all good. We making it. We're doing a lot of things here in NBK. We got some things coming up very soon. So pay attention. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. Good win last night by the Knicks. The type of win they're supposed to have coming off of a break, playing a team like the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I'm saying? And you see Michael Porter. He don't know what's happening. He don't know what's going on. He's like, well, I went to the wrong New York team. Got traded there, whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? But, just quickly, Tony, your thoughts on last night, how the Knicks looked last night, your impression of last night, and how'd you feel after last night's game?
Well, anytime you going out there, you playing a team that has not established themselves yet, and they can be dangerous, right? You always aware or thinking in the background about that letdown game, right? That team you might have overlooked, or you might overlook and let them creep away. A win. There was no chance of that from the Nets this game. You know what I mean? We showed our dominance. We showed what we were supposed to show from the beginning to the end. We talked about the increased playing time for these back of the bench guys that, on a normal situation, they're not going to get the minutes. But one way for them to get these minutes is for us to beat the crap out of teams.
Exactly.
and that's what we did. You know what I mean? It went from a minute and a half, one game, to 3 minutes the next game, to almost a whole fourth quarter. You know what I mean? These guys got to rock out. So yeah, we took care of business against little brother.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we played the way we're supposed to play. We played aggressive. And I know some people are probably tired of me talking about this team being aggressive. But I feel like I have to, because it is something that I think is necessary to win a championship. I know Josh doesn't feel it's necessary to win a championship, but I do feel it's necessary to win a championship. To be an aggressive basketball team every time you step out there on the floor. You know what I mean? And it's still early in the season, but a few games ago, I didn't feel like this team was being aggressive. I didn't feel like they played aggressive, and that's the reason why we took some of them early losses, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Now, we're watching them, and they're really playing aggressive, right? You can see it in their body language. You can see it just in the way that they're playing ball every time they step out there on the floor. And I think it's necessary for this team to be successful. And that's the reason why I'm constantly talking about them being aggressive, playing aggressive, staying aggressive. No matter who we're playing, I don't care if it's the Nets. I don't care if it's the Celtics. I don't care if it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. If we want to be considered a championship contender, I think we've got to be aggressive every time we step out there on the floor, right? And the Knicks are doing that. And what's really impressive to me is that Karl Anthony Towns is one of the players that's really leading the charge on how aggressive they're being. You know what I mean? And I love that he's out there leading that charge.
And I think it's translating to where it's giving the rest of the team that kind of that energy or that path to keep the same energy. Because you could point it to Carl for sure. You know what I mean? And it stands out, but then you can see it from everybody, down to the bench, to Clarkston and even the guy who has still yet to produce in Yabusele, you know what I mean? He's looks more comfortable taking them shots now. I think he was 1 for 4, 1 for 5, but you know what I mean? He ain't stopping to shoot. He ain't hesitating. You know what I mean? He still has that aggression,
Yeah,
or I shouldn't say still. He showed some aggression in that last game, even though
yeah.
the shots weren't falling.
I,
So that
I,
was a
I
good
can
sign
I
for
can
me.
I can definitely say that. When I was watching last night, I was like, okay, at least he's aggressive when he's coming out. I could say that 100%. At least he's aggressive. You know, he might not be hooping right now, but he's still aggressive out there on the floor, and that's a positive. You know what I mean?
It's a sign that his confidence hasn't wavered.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's a sign once again that once the shots start falling, you know what I mean? Like he'll be able to fit in a little bit more. And the
I'm
team
still
is still looking for him. They still, you know what I mean? They still giving him the rock.
right. I'm still hoping that he's gonna fit in. I mean, all indications to me, and it's not even just about him. The performances that he's had, but it's just kind of the style that I think he's going to struggle with and continue to struggle with. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of that style. I think he'll continue to struggle with. I don't know, but um, I'm rocking with him still. So, ladies and gentlemen, still rocking with him. Big shout out to my man Ron from Still Knicks Fan. He said, "What's good, Knicks family? Salute to the chat. Salute to Tony and Sim. I love the new look, fellas. Getting ready for my show, but I will watch the replay. You know what? We didn't even know you was. You know what? We got to talk more, Ron. We got to talk more so we're on the same page. I'll give you a
Sure.
call. We got to talk more so we're on the same page. You know what I mean?
And that's my fault. We're usually later, but I got to work early in the morning, so I've been pushing in to knock this out.
Yeah.
So
So
my bad.
But we'll make sure we're on the same page. Go ahead and get ready for your show. And people will pop back and forth between the two shows like they normally do anyway. So, that's a good deal. But Tony, what are your thoughts about the Nets, though?
Well, they're still in a good position for a rebuild. You know what I mean? I want to
Mhm.
say they surpassed OKC in like future first round picks and all that. You know what I mean? Like in total picks collected. So that's good. You know what I mean? That's a place if you're starting from anywhere, you know what I mean? And you got the draft assets to kind of make a
That's
competitive
true.
offer for whatever pops up at any given
That's
time.
true. That's true.
You know, it's a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, they're bad. I
Would they have 5
they're
first round
bad.
picks this year? And they kept them all? Something like that? 4 or 5?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Something like that. But they are bad though. They're a bad basketball team. You know what I mean? And just to think, it wasn't too long ago when everybody was, just saying all this wild stuff about them being, going to take over the city and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But they're bad. They're real bad. They're so bad that some of their fans are like, please get this team, Lincoln 4477, please get this team out of the NBA. I mean, I don't know what to think about them.
The majority of that team is eligible to play in the G League.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think,
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't see Cam Thomas didn't play. You know what I mean? He's probably or arguably, you know what I mean, the best player. Um, Michael Porter Jr. is having the opportunity to be the guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I would love to interview him just to know, after this year, and just to know what it's like to be on a constant contender. You know what I mean? Where you got to play within your role to coming to having your own. You know what I mean? Having the experience to blossom, but
Right.
you're not going anywhere successfully as a unit. And
Right.
would you choose that? You know what I mean? Which one would you choose? But
Yeah. Now I get it. I don't know, man. They're so. I mean, I guess they're in a great position, like you said, to start over, right? And that's what they're doing now, just starting over. Um, it doesn't seem like like how bad are they going to be? It doesn't seem like they have much talent on the team. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think, man.
the bad thing about where they at right now, to me personally, is I don't know if any of their young guys, like who's the guy you would be like, all right, we're starting over, but we're gonna build around him. You know what I mean? Like their strength is to build around a collective of young guys because that's what they, what I mean. You bring in 4 first-round picks. That's a collective to. I hope whoever they drafted, because I'm not too familiar. I hope they were strategic in that because that would be a direction to collectively. But nobody looks like, all right, he's the guy that stands out.
So,
Zaire, maybe. Zaire Williams, maybe.
but Michael Porter Jr. is not supposed to be that guy. Isn't he supposed to be the guy
I,
that's
I,
not that
I don't. I
the
think. I think on a rebuild, he's not the guy that you're rebuilding around, especially at this stage of his career, right? Especially with him already coming from a winning situation.
mhm.
Um, because because even
How
with
old
that, the
how
argument
old
is, huh?
how old is he?
Uh, what draft was that? The Knox draft,
The Knox draft, yeah.
26, 25. He got to be 25, 26, right?
25, 26.
And it's not so much that he's not good enough to be part of a rebuild. I think it's two things. He already had success. So how
Mhm,
much of a rebuild is he gonna want to withstand? Because that's a multi-year process.
mhm.
And two, where do you see him on a championship team when you get there after the rebuild is done? What number is he in the pecking order, right? Is he two? Is he
Right.
the third guy? You know what I mean? Because I don't think he's the first guy either. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like he's not the first guy that you're gonna build around. He's still gonna be a part of it. You know what I
Part
mean?
of it.
Like ideally, he would be end up right back where he was in the role in Denver. I think.
I mean, I think he's taking this as the opportunity to prove that he can be a number one guy. And this would be the opportunity, right? For him to
Hmm.
show that he can be a number one guy in the league. And maybe the Nets are looking at it as a chance to really see where they think he is, or what do they think he is in the league?
Here's the thing: what I'm trying to say. When we brought Randall here,
Mhm.
first year, you could really say it didn't work out, right? Everything wasn't like it was a little cluttered, and this wasn't him being in that role, in the number one role. First year, I don't think he was the guy. Mook was there most. He was the guy most of the season. I don't know if Randall necessarily took that lead at the end, like once Mook was traded. I think the following year, it was his team. You know what I mean, for the first time.
Right.
But even in that, he played up and helped us get to the playoffs, right? For the first time in, in a long time. I don't see
Uh,
if I don't see giving Michael Porter Jr. the realm. I don't see him being able to lead the Nets to the even the playoffs or play in. You know what I'm saying? Like, so his time there is going to be damaged. You know what I mean? Like, even if him being the number one guy, how long do you go with the number one guy on a team that's not winning?
yeah,
And I don't know if the team necessarily wants to win right now.
right. Yeah,
He's
I
in
don't
a
know.
bad spot.
Okay, and he might be. He might be. 99 Judge Man said MPJ chucking up shots. I mean, at this point in time right now, yeah, he's probably like, nobody out here can score like I can, so let me go get mine. You know what I mean? Let me just go get mine. You know, we try to prove to everybody that I can be the guy. Um,
Now, I'll
yeah.
say this soon. Here's a
Mhm.
reason he might be in a position to stay on the Nets and build and keep getting a super lucrative contract. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't see them being even in a position with all their young guys. They didn't even want to pay Cam Thomas. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? But at some point, you got to pay somebody. So he might be that somebody that you got to pay just to keep the thing going.
Yeah.
But I can't see no winning anytime soon.
So do you think there is a chance for him? I mean, you know, Randall elevated himself to an all NBA player, right? And maybe the circumstances just all came together at the right time for Randall. Who knows?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Do you see any chance that that happens with MPJ?
I think he could be the number one guy, but I don't see them winning. And I think I think there's a distinct difference, and I think that's why Randall did get the love that he got. You know what I mean, or the respect that he got because of where we came from, and in a sense where he came from. You know what I mean,
Mhm,
within the team.
mhm.
You know what I mean. So I don't know if he could carry. They would put it like this. Here's the difference too. The Knicks still wanted to win. So they brought better pieces around. You know what I mean? We kept bringing
True.
pieces and
That's
building and getting better. I don't
that's
know if the
true.
Nets are trying to do that right now. And that's the biggest difference. If they're gonna start putting some guys around them,
Mhm.
yeah, he could be a part of that. I don't you know what I mean? I think ultimately it's gonna be that same argument that they said with Randall though. You gotta get somebody in better than him. You know what I mean? Like you gotta
Yeah. Yeah. What was it with Randall that led him to, was it luck? I guess I can't say it's luck because he's still doing it. At least this season he's doing it. Because he didn't come in as he still isn't a number one guy, but he didn't come in as a guy that you said was going to definitely take you to the playoffs. Everyone knew he had talent, but same thing with Michael Porter Jr. Everyone knows he has talent. You know, maybe it was the discipline of Tom Thibodeau that helped Randall put it together. And maybe Michael Porter Jr. needs something similar. I don't
but
know.
it also was the organization wanting to win. Like we didn't want to
Okay.
just
You're right. You're
you
right.
know what I'm saying? It,
Right.
it was and it was also the organization believing in Randall. You know what I mean? So so it's like we want to win, but we believe you can help us get there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if those two things are true, and they both have to be true for
And,
it to
and,
work.
and and the Nets might be just trying to stay marketable right now. And he's a name that can be marketable because at one point he was
Mhm,
highly touted, right?
mhm.
A lot of people in New York wanted the Knicks to draft him instead of Knox, right? Obviously, the Knicks did not draft him instead of Knox because of his, back issues and all of that. You know, so I guess they probably figure, hey, you know what? He can be marketable. And if we're competitive, we can at least sell that we got Michael Porter Jr. You know, the way
And he'll
things
give
are
you
looking
some
right now.
flashy plays.
What'd you say? And he'll get, yeah, yep. Couple flashy plays here and there. Yeah, what was you gonna say?
No, that was it. You heard me. Like you know, you'll get a little bit of flash, a little bit of a little bit of highlights here and there to kind of get some energy going. But I think
Mhm.
I think for the Nets to be not even comparable to the Knicks, but because I think they're so far away, and it showed that even when they were the better team,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
On paper, you know what I mean? Like it still was our town, but I don't know if they could dwell in the bottom for as long as we did. You know what I mean? I think it'll hurt them even more.
yeah. I get it. I get it. You know, obviously, you know, their fans ain't happy. 99 Judgment again said tanking is one thing, being unwatchable is another. You know,
And that's the sad part.
they were unwatchable last night for their fans. For their fans, they were unwatchable. That was rough. That was bad. You know, I don't know. It's
You
gonna
know
be
what though? They're
it's gonna
Brooklyn
be a rough
fans,
time
but
for them.
they're Brooklyn fans, but they're still New Yorkers. So
Mhm.
they gonna stick with their team through thick and thin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, they're going to, but man, it's going to be a rough time. It's going to be a rough time. You know, just think
So
about where they were a couple of years ago, right? Where they were a couple of years ago with Kyrie and Kevin Durant and James Harden to where they are now. You know what I'm saying? And this is what happens when you sell out the process. And I'm not saying the process like the Philadelphia 76ers process. But when you sell out the process instead of, you know, going through the rigors of building a team, which they were doing, right? They had a nice little thing going and they sold it out. Kyrie and KD, and then James Harden came. Uh, and when it doesn't work, this is what happens. You know what I mean? This is what happens. That's the one thing I get afraid of with the Knicks. That they're gonna get to the point where they feel like they need to sell out the process. You know what I'm saying? And it almost felt that way when they
yeah, I was
when they
just gonna
traded
say that.
Randall and brought in Carl Anthony Towns. It felt like, wow, are you selling out the process? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it didn't sell out the process, right? But it's scary, you know, and it makes you think like, damn, are they selling out the process? Like, what's happening here?
I mean, not for nothing. Fire and Tips felt like they were selling out the process.
Right?
If you
Yeah,
were, you know what I mean? If you
Iron
were
Fist kind of
keeping a
felt like
hundred, and I mean, obviously not everybody felt that way, but you know what I mean? I definitely felt that way.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
it, that's why they get paid the big bucks. They get paid. I guess. You know what I mean, they gotta make some tough decisions sometimes.
yeah. And the crazy thing is, like Lamont Tinley saying, they were one KD toe from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Remember that, right? Remember that his toe was on the line. So you know, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, but you know, don't sell out your process, man. Stick with your process and add this and that's what the Knicks have done. They basically stuck with the process, but then make a move, see how it fits, make another move, see how it
Mhm.
fits. You know what I'm saying? You know, so they didn't completely just sell out the process. They've been making those little moves, seeing how things fit, and so on. So You know, that is a good thing that the Knicks.
And they've been strategic in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you can, like, even the minor moves or the missteps. We talk about how they made moves to correct them. You know what I mean? They had to move this guy. They had to move. You know what I mean? Let
Mhm.
Fournier go. They had to. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Trade Cam Reddish to get Josh Hart. You know what I mean? Like but all these things you know what I mean? They try this. All right, that don't work. We gonna maneuver this one, flip that one. But they've been right on point. You know what I mean? It's hard to question them, even if you don't believe it in the moment. You know what I mean? The track record still has to have merit.
Right. 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 D'Lo 40 said at least we were 2-2 in the preseason. You know, it's bad. You know it's bad when you got to hang on to the preseason as being you know, you got to brag about that. You got to be happy about the preseason. You know what I'm saying? You know it's bad when you got to do that. Uh, yeah, I
You might
mean,
as well just count the preseason record to your regular record.
you know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
we three and whatever.
Right. You know, if you got to be happy about the preseason, it's rough for you. It's rough. But you did mention they got a lot of draft picks. You know what I'm saying? So they are in position to rebuild. We're gonna get to that in a second. Bigster Dog said everybody still turns into Steph versus us. It's crazy. That has to do with y'all defense. Obviously, the worst defensive team in the league. That's how you came in last night. That's the worst defensive team in the league. What are you gonna do? They're terrible.
The
Well,
messed up thing is last night when he said everything. I mean everyone. He probably met everyone on the Knicks because we was lighting them up.
we was lighting them up last night. Yeah, when you say everybody on the Knicks, you mean everybody on the Knicks. The Knicks they were crazy from the 3-point line last night. I mean, they were hot just all over everywhere, but from the 3-point line, they was on fire.
At one point in the game, I don't know if it was halftime or the third quarter, but they told the 3-point attempts and makes, and I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? I hope we don't even get to 40 because we were shooting so we ended up with 37, I think. You know what I mean? But we were shooting so well. I was like, you know what? If we get to 40 or over, it might end up being a bad shooting night. You know what I mean? Because I was like, we shooting the hell out the ball.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks shot like 45% from the 3-point line last night, and they've been doing that over the last however many games. Um, just getting into the Knicks real quick is you think it's sustainable that the Knicks that? And I'm not saying they're going to shoot 45%, but that they continue to shoot this well from the 3-point line.
The funny thing is Brunson still hasn't found his stride. I think Cat didn't even take a three last game. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think it is sustainable because collectively, I think we have enough. Even though some people argue that, and some people say we don't have shooting. You know what I mean? We have guys that could get on stretches. You know what I mean? And Mikhail's on a stretch to start the season. OG's on a stretch to start the season. Deuce, I
Mhm.
think, has been over the last couple of years one of our most consistent guys, and he's shooting well. So even if I think those guys give room to fall off because Brunson still hasn't hit his stride yet. I don't think we've seen the best from Cat yet as well, even though Cat is shooting the ball great, 3-point percentage and everything. But I think he's gonna even be better. So I think it is sustainable as a team because when certain guys go up, I think certain other guys will go down and vice versa.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Clarkson, he's finding his stride. He didn't shoot. He didn't start the season off well, but he's in a good stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Shamit's been pretty consistent all year. Yeah, it's really just Yabusele, the lone like horrible shooter so far, and Brunson just not being himself yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little. Let's finish talk about the Nets. Then we can get into and just rap about the Knicks a little bit before we get up out of here. You were mentioning a little bit about their draft, right? Kings 21. He said, "I think this team should already be looking forward to the draft. What a pathetic, disgusting, disgraceful lack of talent." Wow. That's rough business right there. But they got draft picks, right? They got a lot of draft picks. They are, I don't know. What are they looking to do? Do you think they're looking to trade those draft picks to bring in players? Are they just going to draft those, draft guys? They got a lot of our draft picks. You know what I'm saying? But right now, we're looking and we're saying, obviously, it was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
All last season, there was an argument about, about whether or not those draft picks were worth it, right?
The F those pick guys is looking real savvy right now.
Yeah, for real. So, I mean, what do you think the Nets are looking at? What are they looking at?
I think if the background wasn't so bad for Morant, I think he would have been a prime candidate to go there, bring him there, keep Michael Porter Jr., you know what I mean, and then try to be a respectable team and build from that. You know what I mean?
Be interesting. Maybe not the greatest place for Ja Morant because it's New York. You know what I'm saying? But as far as for Brooklyn and marketability for Brooklyn and putting together an exciting team, that would be interesting for sure. That would surely be interesting.
So I think they'll always be right now. They'll always be in the market for the next disgruntled star. You know what I mean? It's really a matter of their decision making or figuring whether this guy is worth what comes with New York. You know what I mean? You got to revisit the Kyrie situation, whether you believe he had fault or not, but you got to revisit the Durant. You got to revisit that and understand. All right, we gotta bring guys built for if it goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the only tricky part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing for me is, what would, if I'm the Nets, what would stop me from trying to push hard for Ja Morant? I guess it would just be the issues that he's having, but
listen, they could be in a prime position to try to go get Durant and Zion.
Mm-hmm.
And say, you know what I mean? And just say, let's build something. You know what I mean? Like, they could be in that position to do it if they really wanted to throw every chip on the table. I think the best thing for them to do though is a slow build.
Okay. Kev says the baggage. Do you throw the baggage out the window because of who it, do you throw the baggage out the window? Say, you know what? Not because it's Ja Morant, but because of the situation that you're in. You're not really marketable right now. You're in a city that could be marketable. You have uniforms that look nice that could be marketable. Like you have all the other elements that could make you marketable, except for exciting players and an exciting team. Ja Morant in Brooklyn.
Is it the same? Is it the same ownership? Is it the same management and ownership from the Kyrie days? Kyrie Durant days?
No, I think it's different.
See, so that's where, do you have the cojones to go out there and make that move. You know what I mean? Like, you may want to do it for the marketing and the money side of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you're doing that for the wins. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you want to make a splash and get the media back, the attention back, the spotlight, you know what I mean?
That'll do it.
That'll do it. But it comes with responsibility and expectation.
Right. That's true. But it would definitely do it though, right? It would definitely do it. You know what I'm saying? You'll get there'll be a lot of excitement. You know what I mean? A lot of excitement. Roman the Chosen said again, Ja would be great for the Nets, but Brooklyn would be horrible for Brooklyn would be terrible for Ja Morant. He wouldn't know what to do.
Now, here's the thing though. When you're coming from where he's coming from, with the baggage, with the background, with the, you know what I mean, with the seemingly not a great departure whenever it happens from Minnesota, from Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you come to your new situation with the same? Maybe it's not his fault, whatever the case, but do you try to change the perceptive? Do you try to change the narrative in your new fresh situation? You know what I mean? Or do I would think you try to clean some of that up.
Yeah, you try to clean some of that up. Can you clean it?
You know what I mean?
I mean, you can clean it. Wrong question. You can clean it up. Can he clean it up? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Can he clean it up? Like, does he have the maturity to clean it up? Because
and that question follows you wherever, like, not just in Brooklyn, wherever you go.
Yeah. One Shot D said Ja, Zion, and Michael Porter Jr. would make some noise. They're all young. Build with that and still have picks left over. Give your fans some hope. It would. That would give your fans some hope. You know what I mean? It would definitely give your fans some hope.
And you're going to get them at their lowest value.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get them at their lowest value. I mean,
is there a New York tax? Does the New York tax apply to Brooklyn, or is it just the Knicks tax?
So. It's just the Knicks. It's just the Knicks. I don't think it applies to Brooklyn. I don't think it applies to Brooklyn. Brooklyn hasn't created the type of enemies that the Knicks have. And I'm not saying the Knicks did anything on purpose, but because it's New York, they have natural enemies. You know what I'm saying? And although Brooklyn is in New York, it's, I don't know, it hasn't done the same. Hasn't done the same. And so, they don't get the tax.
And they're Brooklyn by way of New Jersey.
Right, by way of New Jersey. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know. You know, so Brooklyn Nets, you know, I feel for y'all, but this is what happens when you get too big for your britches.
Pun intended.
You know what I mean? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit of Knicks before we head up out of here, Tone.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I know, last night was a great showing for the Knicks. You know, the offense is home and they scored 134 points last night, coming off of 130 whatever against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And against the Timberwolves, that was a much better defense that they did. You know, one thing that people were afraid of is that the Knicks would lose a little bit of momentum going into the break. Right? Well, you could throw that out the window. They came in with more momentum and played even better basketball. Now, albeit it was the Nets, the worst defense in the league, but if you're going to come back off a break, this is the team you want to come back off the break and play, right? You want to come back off the break and play the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I mean? Shout out to the nigga Time Show, Phil. What's popping with you, brother? How you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Glad you joined the show, or glad you jumped into the chat. You know what I mean? Looking forward to talking to you. But it was a great way to come off of a break. Played a great basketball game. You know, we who do we play tomorrow?
Mm, not Miami. I think Miami's the
No.
game after.
We play the Grizzlies tomorrow.
Yes, that's right.
Grizzlies are 4-7.
Speaking of,
All right, and then Tuesday, so we got a back-to-back coming up. We play the Grizzlies tomorrow, then we play the Magic on Wednesday.
oh, it is a back to back. Okay.
It's a back-to-back. Yeah. So the Grizzlies are 4-7, the Magic are 4-6. Right now, the Knicks are undefeated at home. All right. I mean, looking at this stretch, the Grizzlies, the Magic, the Heat, the best team out of the bunch right now, they are 6-4. Right, the Knicks are 6-3. We're 6-0 at home, 0-3 on the road. You know, we're gonna have a chance right now to go 1-2. You know, like start the season 9-0 at home. Right, and then after this, we got to go out there on the road. And we got to start to accumulate some wins on the road. You know what I mean? Can we finish this home stretch 3-0? Can we run the gamut? I mean, I think we can. But can we run the gamut?
I'm just focused on the next one, Sim. You know what I mean? They are, even though they're not at their, best of camaraderie, they're still a dangerous team. You don't want to give them any momentum into trying to fix their situation. I say we go out there, we break them early. You know what I mean? Break them early. Give that same energy we've been on with this homestand, and keep improving. You know what I mean? And then take it by for the next game. But I agree, it's definitely doable. But you know what I mean? Let's not overlook anybody. They you know what I mean? We want to crush them early and make Ja feel like, hey, get me out of here.
I mean, yeah, what a storyline. What I didn't even think about it, but what a storyline coming to coming to New York. Not for the Knicks, but at least for Brooklyn. I mean, there's always going to be talks about somebody coming to the Knicks, but him coming to Brooklyn, that could be a storyline. How would you feel about playing in New York? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, a lot of the argument is he needs a big market, right? So
does he?
I don't think the market. I think he's proven the opposite. But for those who want him in a big market and what it would do for him, there's no denying that.
Honestly, with the way things have gone, his team may not want a big market. They may be like, nah, forget it. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't handle it in a small market. We're not going to put him in it. You know what I mean? They might not. They might not want a big market. They might be like, nah, we're going to put that boy in harm's way if we put him on a big market.
I mean, I feel you. You get the right team, you're gonna put them in a, you know what I mean? You put them in a big market, but you gotta have the right teams still. You know what I mean? Like the right team will get them in a big market and know how to protect them in that market.
Okay, I can feel that. So the Knicks play Memphis tomorrow. They're obviously a team that's going through some turmoil because not because of Ja Morant, but with Ja Morant. They're a team that a few years ago, were looking like possible championship contenders, and now all of a sudden, they're just a mediocre basketball team. So the Knicks got to take care of business the same way that they just took care of business against the Brooklyn Nets. They take care of business against Memphis. and then knock off the next two, the Magic, the Heat. You know, we owe the Heat one. And when we play the Heat on the 14th, that's one of the games. In season games. Yeah. So, you know, we need to take care of them for sure. You know, I think we can run the gambit. I think we can run the table on this homestand and then go on to the road, you know, and be ready to take care of the road.
Even that home game is at home. Even that road game is at home.
Even that road game. I mean, that road game was at home last time and we lost home. But I don't think we had the same mindset, though.
That's true.
We didn't have the same mindset, though. Yeah, I think we have a different mindset coming into this game. Obviously, we want some revenge, but I think the players are a little bit more focused. Well, let's put it like this. There's more focus, and there's also more probably structure to the team right now, should I say? Right?
Mm-hmm.
More focus, more structure. Not that there wasn't structure before. I guess I'm saying structure in the vein of guys understanding what their roles are. You know what I mean? And I think that first game against Miami, that was a little bit shaky. I don't know if they necessarily understood what their roles were. You know what I mean? So, yeah, looking forward
Mitch
to it.
wasn't back, right?
Mitch wasn't back. Phil said, I think we win the next 3, if not the next 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm with it. You know, if we win the next, I'm trying to be like you. I don't want to look ahead. But if we win the next 3, we're 9-3 to start the season. We win the next 4, then we're 10-3 to start the season. That's nice.
That is.
That'd be a nice way to start the season. I would love to just blow these guys out, blow all these teams out for a little while.
Is this our longest home winning streak?
Good question. I'm not sure.
In a couple years or something.
In a while, yeah, it might be in a while.
And if it ain't, you know, we do run the table. Yeah, we will be close to that.
Yeah. Walter White said the back-to-back without Mitch worries me.
Which game you sit him in?
Good question. Let me see. We're playing Memphis, and then we play the Magic. I don't know. I might sit him versus
Memphis. Him in Memphis. Yeah.
I might sit him versus Memphis.
Yeah.
Play him against the Magic.
Yeah.
Just in everything, the Magic game means more, right? When we talk about both of them mean something record-wise, but when we talk about the Eastern Conference standings, the Magic game means more. So, yeah.
And I don't think who's they big? Edie's out, right? Edie, I think Edie might be out for the season. Yeah, and they don't have. Yeah, so it's Jackson. Who's the other big? I don't think Triple J is playing the 5 right now, but
I don't know.
But yeah, I think one of their main bigs is out. So yeah, I would if I gotta choose, I would sit Mitch this first one.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we do. I think I'm gonna try to jump on sometime tomorrow before the game. I know I got some meetings that run later into the night, but I'm gonna try to jump on sometime tomorrow throughout the day. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I'll keep you posted when I'm back home.
It's a bet.
Yeah.
Right,
I'll definitely be
yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on the Losers Lounge. Oh, I did want to ask the group, you know, let us know what you think about the new digs, the new setup. You know, what you think about it. What we need to do, what can we do to make it better? I mean, we like it, but you tell us. You know what I'm saying? We might add little pieces here and there, but give us an idea of what you think about the new digs. And we got some more new digs coming as things go on. So be ready for that. But tell us what you think about it. The Losers Lounge, baby. This ain't just content, it's culture. NBK is all about culture. You already know that. Anyway, Tony, I'm about to head up out of here. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. We'll talk tomorrow to see if see what's happening. If you got some time, but I'll probably jump on sometime throughout the day. Not exactly sure when. Jump on and do a little something. Talk about the upcoming game. Anyway, folks, we'll catch you tomorrow. Be peaceful. It's the Losers Lounge. You only get it here at MBK. Better believe that, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We out of here. Peace.
Losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it. This is, where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, recently. But things can change quickly. Once we losing is what got us here.